2, 1. Welcome everyone to this episode of Garage Gamers.
That's a wonderful little intro, Matt.
Yes.
What are we trying to do here?
Oh, we're trying to be like really upbeat.
Engaging the audience.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Because apparently people like over the top.
A lot of game reviewers do kind of do a lot of this. I think
Yeah,
it's like,
just like touching and moving.
Yeah.
And
I think it's because if you sit there like this and just go, hello, welcome
you're
to my
describing
show.
us.
Yeah.
You're describing us.
Yeah, well that's it. I guess we need to up our game a bit.
So we're going to be talking like this from now on.
Or singing like this. Like, which is
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Maybe the next episode we can do singing.
Yes.
Anyway.
Garage singing gamers.
What are we doing?
Okay, so this episode, gotta get in my chair properly, is Dark Souls 3 review discussion.
Yes, it's come out today. The game is out today. And
yes, it is out. Yes.
And
it is actually today.
that's right. And we reviewed it in advance.
Well, you will see this at a later point, but it's out.
Yes. The review is out. It's done. And I did the review.
This guy did the review.
Yeah, and
but we both played it.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we had a lot of previews for Dark Souls 3, and we thank you, Bandai Namco, for those opportunities. Yeah, so we got the game in advance. We were able to finish it, and we gave it a very good score.
Yes. Well, you gave it a very good score. But
I gave it a good score.
I can't fault you on it because I played it and I was really engaged with it just in that demo.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Yeah.
I couldn't see any flaws with it. I mean, it's a Dark Souls game if you like Dark Souls. And
Yeah.
so let's see what you liked about it. So what are we going to start off with the concept?
Just the whole concept. It's a good way to start. I mean, firstly, a little disclaimer: I'm a little bit Dark Souls obsessed. I've finished all the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne games without co-op.
Cleared Dark Souls 2 so that there's no enemies left on there.
Yeah, I cleared the entire map, so there was literally, it was an empty void. I was just explaining this to you before, even the little pit traps where you fall down a hole into a world of poison and there's enemies there that just surround you and smash you, I cleared out those areas too.
It's just a desolate world now.
Nothing to do. I was king of nothing. Like I was the ruler of absolutely nothing.
Yeah, there's no enemies.
It's like I had no friends. It was a very sad, it kind of fits the theme. I was a very sad, lonely man by the end. But it was a great experience. However, we're moved on to Dark Souls 3 now, and I gave it a very high score.
Well, you can't get any higher on our scale.
I gave it perfect marks, and the reason why I gave it perfect marks, among many reasons, one of the
it's
key...
because he was paid to do so, you know?
I wish. No, it's because every time I've reviewed Dark Souls 2, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, I've always ended up giving it a 9. And then when I look back at the best games of the generation, they always end up being like my number 1 to number 5 games.
It's usually a lot of people's game of the year.
Yeah, and it's got such a unique flavour, so many unique gameplay concepts. It just invented so many things to the gaming universe. So I just thought, you know what, stop it. I'm going to end these 9s right now. They've pretty much tidied up a lot of the little nuances that made it a little bit glitchy before. And, you know, I've always regretted it at the end of the generation, not giving it a 10, so I just thought, you know, it's 10 time, so give it a 10, or 100%, you know. And I think it's about as close to perfect as you can get. I mean, looking at some flaws, you know, there's a few very rare frame rate issues that sometimes kick in if there's a lot of enemies loaded on the screen. But it's nothing that detracts from the game, you know. You do notice it, but it's just whatever. You just get on with the game and it's back to normal in like 5 seconds. So it's
just from someone who's been playing them all consistently, is it enough to make you be like, this is the new Dark Souls, or is it more like Dark Souls 2.5? Does it feel like a progression?
Well, it's a good question, and it actually feels very much like a very nominal successor to the previous games, meaning if you played it before, this will feel very familiar. It's also a bit more user-friendly to new players as well. So if you've never played the games before, but you keep hearing all these people rave on about it, but it's been too daunting before, this one's a lot better at explaining things as it goes. There's a lot of mystery still there, but the previous Dark Souls kind of left a lot of discovery up to you. Like, you'd pick up an item and you're like, what the hell does this do? And like, how does this merge with this? Yeah, there's so many weird things which you discover through learning. And there's still that element in Dark Souls 3, but some of the core elements are explained by NPCs. people that you meet at the Firelink Shrine, which is kind of like the new town that you go to level up and upgrade your weapons and stuff. Yeah, look, overall, just a quick summary, it is literally an amazing game, and it's kind of got a lot of influence from Bloodborne.
Yeah, I found that when I was playing.
Yeah, a lot.
It's quicker.
In the movement, yeah, in the fluent movement, a lot of the character animations and the cloaks and the clothing and stuff, that's all very Bloodborne, and some of the enemy types as well are very Lovecraft.
Even the graphics, the visual style is a bit Bloodborne-y.
Yeah.
In terms of like the buildings, how they look, it looks like they've stripped some of those.
But they didn't stray away from the core heart of Dark Souls. I personally, I know friends that like Bloodborne more. I personally love Dark Souls more. They added elements of Bloodborne, but they didn't take anything away from Dark Souls, which is really important.
So just added, nothing taken away.
Yeah, exactly.
So are the environments all different? Like, I know in Dark Souls 2 you had all these different, one time you're in the forest, then you're in a castle. Is it like that still?
Yeah, another good question. Basically, I found that this the level designs in this one, there's more interconnecting gateways than there was in Dark Souls 2, but probably not as much as there was in Bloodborne. Mm-hmm. We always love it when you come up to a locked door and you're like, damn, I can't go that way. And then you take another route, then you find your way, somehow end up back the other way, and you unlock from the other side. And all of a sudden, there's a quick shortcut between the long route that you've just taken to the boss, between the bonfire and the boss. So it's always a great feeling, and there is a lot of that. You don't notice it so much at first, but deeper in the game, you notice it often, and it's great. This map is also a bit more open as well, so there's a lot more kind of running around open spaces, which is cool because they can emphasize size in the game, which is great. And I also found there's a lot of routes, multiple routes that you can take. Most of them end up actually in dead ends, which that's not the way to go. But it usually rewards you with an item or something at that dead end to reward you for the effort that you went to get there. So
unless you die right at that spot and you're like, I have to go back this way.
Yeah, which has happened frequently. I find it a little hard to describe the difficulty of the game though.
Because you're so used to it.
I'm so down pat with the system of Dark Souls and how it works and how best to avoid tantrums and stuff. And trust me, there's still tantrums that happen on the tough bosses or tough sections. But I've got more tantrum memories of moments in Dark Souls than I did playing this game.
Yeah.
Then again, I've read other reviews and spoken to other people in the media who have said that this one's got some real anger-inducing bosses, which I didn't find so much in this one. I've got some real bad memories from Dark Souls 1 in terms of rage moments, but less so in this one.
See, I've heard that this one starts off very aggressive, and then it sort of dies down a bit as you're getting more used to it, which I think is a natural thing to happen, but I don't know, it seems some games start off easy and then sort of go up the way in difficulty, whereas I've heard this sort of goes the opposite way.
Yeah, if we look back at game and talk Dark Souls 2 for a second, a mate of mine only just recently finished that game, and we also played Bloodborne, so we played Bloodborne, Dark Souls 2 at the same time, and on both those games we'd talk about it afterwards, and there were bosses that he really struggled against that I just beat first or second go. And then the ones that I really struggled against that he got first or second go. So we couldn't relate to each other's pain so much. But I thought it was interesting that we used different play styles to fight bosses, and had different outcomes, based on who we're fighting. So
he's just boring.
Yeah, I know.
It's so boring.
How rude.
It's really late, alright? It's really late.
Well, you had a long day at work. So I just think that's one of the beauties of Dark Souls in general, because there's so many different fighting styles and builds you can do that the one that you focus on will be really strong against some bosses and really weak against other bosses.
Yeah, and you find also people can be very aggressive in their play, like they'll just run up and start hacking and not really use the blocking or the dodging. Well, it's rolling in this. Yeah. They don't have the Bloodborne. Yeah. Which I always try to do. I always try and be really aggressive and run in and hit. Yeah. And I think in Bloodborne that was almost like compulsory. It was an incentive to do that, because if you had if you had health taken off and then you hit them, it would reduce how much was totally taken off.
That's right. Yeah. Like your best defense is to attack in Bloodborne.
Yeah. Whereas Dark Souls is more you got to use the shield, otherwise you can.
Well, no, you don't. You don't have to. You could go a full like thief build and just roll your way through it. Okay. But the thing is, you'll find that you'll probably struggle on some bosses are better fought with a shield.
Yeah. And
some bosses are better fought by rolling a lot. You almost have to tailor yourself a little bit depending on who you're up against if you're struggling against them.
So Bloodborne it would be the more linear style then, because you pretty much don't have shields in that.
Mate, that's the argument I've been making for a long time.
So then Dark Souls is taking that and then giving you even more freedom.
Yeah, but it always kind of had that freedom before.
Yeah.
As well, like nothing taken away from Bloodborne. Like I love it to bits. Like it's another wonderful game. I just think a little like combat and gameplay wise, it's just got a little bit more depth in Dark Souls, and that's just because the variety of weapons and armor and combat mechanics. You can kind of tailor your guy a little bit more to the play style that you enjoy doing.
So what about the creator character selection? Has that been improved, or has it just changed your face?
No, it's actually been greatly improved, but it's still molded off the old system. So there's a whole bunch of different or extra sliders that you can do for body shape, sizes, skin color, hair. It's still actually the one good thing about it is if you tinker around with it enough, you can actually make a fairly decent looking character in this one. Which is before it was like you could choose between warthog or goblin, somewhere between there, or zombie. One of those three.
But then the funny thing is like you put all this effort into a face and then you just put a helmet over the top. So it's like you don't really need to do that anyway.
That's why nobody minds too much. And also, if you don't have the helmet on, you're probably hollowed and look like a zombie for most of the game anyway. So yeah, they actually they tweak the rulings around that as well now. So the hollowing situation's a little bit different. It seems like, unless I'm mistaken, it seems like the hollowing only really affects your appearance in this game, not so much like your life bar and your stats so much. But you try to stay spoiler free. But basically, there's someone who you can meet, which gives you a dark sign, and if you have the dark sign, you can get 5 opportunities to level up your character for free. But every time you die, you'll get more decrepit visually as the game goes on.
But then, what does that do?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out, and I couldn't notice that. I spent ages trying to figure out because my life bar was still the same, my stats were still the same, but I was visually starting to look haggard and zombie-like. So
small price to pay.
Yeah. So as long as I don't mind looking like an undead man, I don't think I ever got to the point where I was a complete hollow man.
Yeah.
Because you can actually, if you find a firekeeper soul or something like that, you can take it to the Shrine Maiden, and she will give you the opportunity to remove the dark sign. But it's very expensive. So
spoilers, in case you were wondering.
Well, it's not. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler, no. but it is a handy hint. So if you don't like your zombie appearance, you can undo that with that opportunity. But yeah, there's more spoilers I can give there, but I'll leave that alone. But I'll tell you what, it also sounds really good too. Yep. Dark Souls 3.
Yep.
The music is even more impressive than it has been before. Just these gothic, orchestral, gloomy, doomy. But like I don't know how they're recording it. They must be getting like a full choir to do it now. Yeah. It's just so epic. And
well,
great.
I mean, if you got some good programs and some good keyboards,
you
can sample a lot of that stuff and just layer it until it sounds epic.
Oh, it's just amazing.
They must have.
It's so intense. It's like, oh my god! It's like the music.
It's already intense without music in that game, so that just adds to it.
The music should be a boss. It's that scary.
It just forms in front of you. You hit it and it's...
You need like earmuffs to silence it out. So.
Oh jeez.
Yeah,
like a Psycho Mantis boss in Metal Gear. Take the controller out. You got to do some weird thing. Turn your headset off and you beat the boss.
But also, not just the music, but the sound effects. Like there are some moments which just scare the living daylights out of you because you're kind of quietly going along doing your thing, and then all of a sudden something will just shriek at you from the corner. It's got a lot of those Bloodborne-y horror moments in it as well. So
What about those dudes that just hover over and they're like, "Ugh," and then
Yeah.
they're holding knives? I
Yeah.
remember that from my playthrough. They're hovering and cowering over, and they're holding knives, and I'm like, I do not trust you guys. Why are you hovering over like that,
Yeah.
holding a blade?
Well, that's the thing, and you
Massacre
probably
them.
witnessed that sometimes when you ignore them, one might randomly get
Exactly.
up and go for you.
Jerks.
Yeah.
One thing I did notice though when I was playing is I attacked one of those guys, and this giant hair monster thing came out of it.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
Yeah, you can. Another top tip for you guys watching: if you know one of those guys is gonna explode like Resident Evil style on you, just charge at him and hit him before he can do it, and then worry about the other little pawns around him afterwards. If you can get him before he transforms, it's like a one-hit death. He's gone, so saves you a lot of pain.
Because so I died. I beat him. Then I died on an enemy further on. So then when I respawned and I went back to that same guy and I hit him, he didn't turn into that crazy
Well, there you go.
thing. So I was like, well, is
You
it
got it.
random or is it?
No,
was
no,
he actually going to do it if I didn't kill him?
He's going to do it every time, as far as I can tell. Yeah,
Okay.
so you must have got him quick, I think, and just got him before he could transform.
It does remind me of Resident Evil 5 when you,
It's totally Resident
kill
Evil
them
5.
and then that thing grows out of their head and you're like, oh, I just
Yeah.
got a headshot. Come on.
Parasite, yeah, I know. And then they're impossible to take down. But
Multiplayer, what's
yeah,
the
look,
deal on that? Same old?
yeah, multiplayer is pretty much identical to what we've seen before. They've improved a few little things, namely in the covenants and stuff. I don't delve too much into multiplayer because I try to finish the game without doing co-op, so I avoid getting NPCs to sign with me. I avoid getting online players to sign with me.
Messages.
I do get invaded. And
Stand back, foul beast!
but actually, I didn't get invaded through my playthrough, but that's because I had an early copy of the game. So I don't think many people are out there to invade me. But I'm sure once, in fact, the
They're
game's
trying
out,
to do their review, not ruin someone
yeah,
else's.
well, you never know. You know,
Ruin their reviews.
There'll be some guys out there that would do it, I'm sure. But I guess I lucked out. But I'm sure now that the game's out, that's going to happen a lot more often. There's going to be a lot more invasions happening.
I think there's some people that's all they do. They just like messing.
Yeah,
with
they
people.
do. Particularly once they've finished the game, like they just try to create a build that can outdo every other build, and some people come up with some pretty creative ideas. Most of them are just like, "Are you kidding me?" Like like things that kind of go around your shields and do one-hit kills from afar, and I don't know. They tinker with it for a long time.
Or the messages they inscribe, like, there's an item in this chest you will need, and the opening is like an explosion or something.
Yeah. There's a lot of deception there still, and you know I saw lots. That's the other thing I love about the online features I was explaining to you before with Dark Souls 3 and all the Dark Souls games. The messages, the cryptic messages that people leave for you, that's great. The blood stains, which kind of show you how someone died, but don't actually fully show you how they died. They tease everything, and also like glimpses of the souls of other players online. It's just so amazing. It's just such a. It's not like an online lobby where you go and do a deathmatch. It's subtle and it's just so Dark Souls, and I just love the online component of it. There's multiple levels of it, and together it makes a great online component for the game.
And so I guess the gameplay is that next step because it is more fluid. It feels quicker. It feels tighter.
Yeah.
Graphics, obviously, they've been improved.
Yeah.
Because, it's the first one. Well, I mean, Bloodborne, if you consider it, would be the first one on next gen, but this is the first Dark Souls on next gen.
Yeah. Also, the bosses are still surprise you.
Yeah.
The enemy designs and bosses, you think you've seen it all
Yeah.
going in, but they still manage to surprise you. One thing that should be noted is that I actually found that even though the areas I said before are more open, I found that most of the levels that I was going in, there was quite a lot of indoor areas. I found that I was indoors a lot of the time and not outdoors as much as I was in Dark Souls 2. I might have preferred a bit more outdoors because they often, whenever they do outdoors, they always do these amazing settings, skylines and stuff like that, which just blow your mind away. And there still are those moments. I don't think I saw them as often as I saw them in Dark Souls 2.
Do you think they took that from Bloodborne? The influence of having...
No, I think Bloodborne's a bit... Well, actually, kind of, sorry, I changed that. I think, Bloodborne is much more... feels a bit tighter and more confined. But Dark Souls 3 is much more open, like spread out than Bloodborne is. That said, even though it's spread out, a lot of the spread out moments are still indoors. So... you still get a lot of those great moments where you just like I actually whenever I see a great setting, I'll actually go to the options, turn off the HUD, and then take a screenshot.
Good old screenshot.
Yeah, and I think at some time I'm gonna go back and check the screenshots and just go, I remember that. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially seeing like some of those dead dragon corpses and it was
like, yeah. I mean that moment that's what you saw in your little playthrough. That's just one teeny tiny portion of this game. It just branches out into so many different avenues.
Well, I remember that second demo I played, and I got up to the first boss, and I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, whatever it was, it just got the giant thing and just impaled me, one hit kill. I was like, I just looked at it. Like I didn't even get a chance to do anything.
Yeah, there's still those moments where like things don't go right. I tell you what, there was one boss that was like supposed to be very hard. I had literally, I think, must have had one hit point left because I could not see any health in my bar. But I managed to, and he was really hard. He's like one of the Lords of Cinder, which is like one of the big ones. And a lot of the bosses do this transformation thing now. Like they did it often in Bloodborne. They did it sometimes in in Dark Souls 2, and I think sometimes in Dark Souls 1 as well. But they're doing it all the time. Where with the boss, you get to like you take them down
different
halfway,
stages,
and they become harder. And then I think they're doing 3 stages for most of these ones now. Yeah. But I literally was on death's point with no healing left by the halfway point, and he just transformed to this next level. Fluked it like nothing else. Like got through second phase and third phase, and it completely fluked it. I just jumped up and just go, yes! best
feeling, yeah.
Yeah, it was so good.
You should have saved that.
I did. I've got to save the video, so I'm going to show.
Bragging
maybe I can
rights.
put it. Maybe I can get it on Gamebug. I can put the video on there.
Bragging rights.
Yeah. So good moment. Another highlight. So look, should I capitalize now? Is there any more?
Is that game of the year so far for you?
Well, what's the competition so far?
Well, you haven't played Quantum Break yet.
No, I haven't played Quantum Break. I am excited for it. I've heard a lot of good things, like from you in particular, but we can talk about that another time. A couple of complaints from other people as well, but it is done by the Alan Wake people, so that's what gives me a lot of enthusiasm to give that a go. But I mean, even if I did play that, I still just because I'm such a Dark Souls loser, that I'd probably still go with Dark Souls. I can't think of anything else.
Uncharted 4 will probably be mine if it lives up to all its hype.
Yeah. I mean, Naughty Dog are just amazing.
Yeah,
it's gonna be. They've got so much polish on the game. It's gonna be hard to deny them.
It looks so good as well.
But you never know. We've only played little bits of it so far. So the answer is yes. Dark Souls 3 so far. But there's a lot of games yet to come.
Very good. So we'll close this out then?
Yeah, so obviously a lot of high recommendations in there. If you're a veteran, you're going to be familiar, but you're just going to be addicted to it. It's fantastic. And if you're a newbie, it's actually, there's no harm in starting here. Just jump in and things will be much better explained for you this time around. It'd be good, I recommend you give it a go if you haven't gotten into it before.
And I think this one has got more of a push, more of an audience, because I think a lot of people when the first one came out were a bit scared and they're like, oh, this is really hard, and turned off. And then number 2, more people were getting into it, and I feel ever since Bloodborne came out, that was one of the only exclusives, so more people got into playing that, which then got them used to, I think, what Dark Souls 3 will bring. Yeah. So I find that this is probably, as you said, like a good starting point for newbies.
It's a good time to release it too, because I don't think there hasn't been a kind of AAA title. Except for Quantum Break. But
that was Xbox exclusive. So if you're a PS4 owner, you wouldn't have got to play that.
That's right. Yeah.
So this is one of those AAA titles where it's not an exclusive, but it is up there.
Yeah. But also it's just like this is like another bit of high praise I'm going to give it. But like honestly, if Dark Souls wasn't out there, I think the gaming industry would be actually a lesser place. That's quite a praise. I understand that, but I actually mean that, because if you take away that kind of the uniqueness of it and the atmosphere it brings,
the old school difficulty.
Yeah, the old school difficulty and all those unique concepts. Many of them I mentioned in this video already. Then all you really have is just a whole bunch of shooters and Western market AAA games that are many of them are kind of have a fairly a lot of them are very copycat to each other. You know what I mean? And this one is like, I think this game really segregates itself as its own thing, and I'm so happy for it that it was successful, because this could actually be the last game of the whole trilogy, of the Dark Souls trilogy. As most games go these days, they get to it, and then I think secretly they'll probably expand on it later down the road. But I think tentatively the idea is that this is the closing story of the series. So, and you know what, I'm all for that. Give it a break, and I reckon even if they give it a break, there's no way they're not going to follow it up later on sometime. Yeah.
Alright, well, that's our review discussion for Dark Souls 3.
Wait, more like this. Remember
Oh, yes.
Dark Souls 3!
So, for everything Garage Gamers...
We are very animated review people.
Robot it. So, for everything Garage Gamers and Gamebug, go to our website, www.gamebug.com.au. Go on all our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, his
Please
grinder.
do. We would love to have you. Particularly...
Did you hear that one? You didn't deny it. So.
Particularly for my grinder, apparently.
Yes. Follow him on that. I don't know how it works.
Sure.
I've got 2 accounts. No.
That's devotion.
Sorry, I just ruined what you were saying.
You were saying you're closing off the episode.
Yeah, and you were saying something, and I just
no, it's all good. I won't take over. You
just keep checking our stuff out. And have a look at his review. Go check out Icecube's review if you want a bit more detail in that. Also, if you've got any questions about it, or if you even need some tips, maybe ask him. Just send us a message on Facebook, or
just do it on the YouTube comments. I'll just reply
on the YouTube comments, on our game, on the actual post on our website. You can comment everywhere.
Yeah, or you can ask me for tips. I can do. I can offer Dark Souls 3 tips.
Yeah, so if they're
how do I beat
this? Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you say like
you kill it, that's how you kill
it. You can have a little challenge with him. Let's see who can beat this boss the fastest.
Yeah. Or I can invade you. I'm sure. No, they won't want that.
Well, I mean, you don't give them your username, then they'll invade you. That's all you get is just everyone murdering you.
True.
So thanks everyone for watching. This has been another episode of Garage Gamers. Subscribe to us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.